the stash.
Go ahead and start here in a second. Let me take a couple hits of this lovely Earl. Actually, it's not lovely, but still Earl. Hope you're enjoying your day. Got some brand new things to try here on the JDR, so bear with me, and I could use your help dialing it in, specifically the video. Ooh, it's going to be a good one. Light on news, but heavy on personality.
One Mile High. John Doe.
It's the John Doe Radio Show. How much higher can you get?
Well, what the president said during the campaign, you'll be surprised to know, will be consistent with what we'll be doing here in law enforcement.
And now talking about legalizing marijuana and taxing marijuana to solve budget problems.
Prohibition doesn't work. Maybe after 71 years, it's time for a new approach.
We should be able to give our kids the message we think is appropriate.
A rational, safer choice.
Great celebration of freedom.
Legalize the possession of marijuana.
John Doe Radio.
Ooh. What up, everybody? How you doing? Yeah, scoot in here. All right, get comfortable. Relax a little. Woo-hoo-hoo. This. All right, where's my volume button? Studio. Damn, that's a fine beat. What's this do? That's not it. Woo! Honestly, I have everything under control here on the JDR. There's no worries. It's fine. We got some cool new tools to play with, which is pretty cool. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. Brand new camera sitting here right in front of me. Hopefully it's dialed in somewhat decent. Does it look all right? Do I look all right? Besides the face? I mean, does everything but the face look like it's kind of all right? Know what I'm saying? So I have this these buttons now, along with the camera and my sequencer and the scenes in OBS. All this stuff is just it's all connected together. So I got my Twitch page here. I clicked live to go live on this little thing, by the way. Yeah, I'll show you guys here what I'm talking about. Look at this. Bam, jam. It's called a loop deck. It's kind of like it's a stream deck, basically. You got all these little cool things. See, I can do this. I can hit this button right here. Bam. Sub-only mode. Bam. Turned off. Wait. Or wait, emote-only chat, I mean. Wait, it's supposed to go off when I hit it again, isn't it? I think I froze it. Did I freeze it? What happened? 10-minute follower mode only. All right, what did I do? All right, this is a little bit too jumbled. This is a little bit too jumbled. Oy, oy, oy. I think the problem is with my OBS. Big Chris, put the room back in regular mode. I'm messing with things here. I think I put it in. Anyway, the bottom line is, I got this cool little thing sitting here in front of me. I could put anything in chat in mode. He doesn't have a clue what he's doing. 10-minute follower mode. Look at, see, emote only. Wait a second here. Emote only. What the hell happened? Twitch. Emote only. 10 minute, I don't know. I fucked it up already. We're already messing up everything. But I have multiple scenes here, so the cool thing about it is that I can basically switch anything without having to go back and forth with everything. God damn it, Chris! What kind of sword are you? So we could take mini JDR off. I put mini JDR there. And then I got my selfie right here. And then the webcam right here. Isn't that pretty cool? That's pretty cool. That is very cool. Switch to display. Go to the be right back screen. Game capture. The start screen. Yeah, we got all that awesomeness. That's pretty cool. Very cool. Very cool. Thank you, Chris, for doing that. It figures the second I go live and start hitting buttons, the thing jacks up. If you go look through the history, of yesterday, of me testing out this whole thing, you'll see that the thing worked perfectly. You can see on, off, on, off. I also have a bunch of pages that it's like on Christmas Day when you open up tons of gifts and there's just wrapping paper and bullshit everywhere. You got boxes over here. You really, I mean, you're just buried in shit. I mean, hopefully you were buried in shit, regardless of whether it was, worthless shiz or not, and you did not have a sad childhood. If so, Pepe hands, I apologize. I gotta get used to looking at the camera instead of like this.
Like, hey guys want to talk today? Want to have some fun? We'll talk about some weed, and then maybe we're gonna play some games later. This will be super fun.
Like Mary from Brooklyn's sister.
Guys, you guys want to play? You want to have fun?
All right, I'm sorry. Where was I? Anyway, so when you have all this like junk laying around that you've unpacked, yeah, that's kind of where we're sitting right now with this thing. I gotta make sure to go back in here and delete pages that don't need to be here anymore. So anyway, we'll get to the meat and cheese and bones of all that. I don't know why bones was included in there when I added cheese. I think, anyway, we're not going to analyze that. Today, we got news. Where are we at? There we go. All right, and then we hit this little display 1 and 2 capture. That's not the one I want.
Excuse me. Sorry, hit page 2, page 3. Please, sir, give me the page. I need the page. Really, man. Really.
Okay, there we go. It's got a dynamic thing on it, which I haven't quite figured out how to navigate the not have dynamic on, so the dynamic's on. And it brings up programs inside the screen when you switch the program, and each one of the profiles that I program inside this mamma jamma and its cool little files and stuff comes up on the screen. So how I navigate those and build the file folders without it, maybe we'll tackle that today. All right, second screen capture off. Main display capture. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's just giggity. By the way, God, what a disrespectful, ridiculous, unprofessional man I am. I'm gonna get a border for this too. Am I too big? Is this too big? Is it too big covering? There. I get a border for that. I'm gonna make a border in Photoshop today. By the way, cannot go without saying, I should have said this right off the bat. Big thanks to the one and only Get Seats right here. Big time sponsor. JDR always supported us here on the show. Is this what? Oh God. Oh, wait, look at this. Hold on. I know you guys. I know you guys didn't come here to see this, and you want to hear news and all that stuff. But hopefully me spazzing out can be semi-entertaining for you. Look, watch. I don't feel a lot of oh my god, it's like so awesome. I'm not even playing how awesome that is. Like that, you know, it's very rare to get the amazing feels and just that what's the word called? I just don't have that drug anymore in my body. Dopamines? Is that that's the word I'm looking for? Dopamines. And I'll tell you right now, going live and messing with this live with y'all here, yeah, that actually gave me some good dopamines there. I feel good, yeah. All right, that's enough of that. Jizzing all over the deck. Sorry. Biden's USDA takes first meeting with hemp industry to learn about market needs. We'll talk about that. Hopefully the sound is good too. We kind of did that, and then I gotta stop saying Notice that. Saying that too much. So, do you guys ever get this problem when you get a Windows update, your drivers reset for shit? Like, so whenever I have a Windows update of a certain caliber, I don't even know what the hell is updating, but it's not the goddamn sound card. I'm sure of that. So whenever I get an update for Windows, it resets my driver for my audio card. Oh, it's the most annoying shit ever. I have a bad habit of changing things audio-wise all the time and constantly messing with stuff. I'll sit here and get high. I start listening to music and then go into the equalizer and just fark with the equalizer for like an hour on songs and stuff. It just space out. I don't know. But I've gotten pretty good at saving the profiles that I have onto this badass sound card that I have. And still, god damn it, I switched it. I did a bunch of stuff and I didn't save it the past couple of days. So hopefully it's all right. So what up, Wick Wack Jedi? What up, 420 and GTO? What up, Big Chris? Thank you again for that. All right, next one. That's all I had for that. It feels weird having a nice camera and stuff. Oh, does it feel like an actual, like, do we feel like a professional broadcast? I mean, does it feel like a professional broadcast? Does it feel like the top tier for the rest of the people on Twitch outside of my face and my hair? Because, man, we in a quarantine situation. My bed is literally right on the other side of this thing. So I'm wearing pajamas. Okay? I'm probably wearing the same shirt I wore for the past 3 days. So I don't have to see you besides right here. And if I really wanted to, never mind. Never mind. I won't go there. We'll leave that for the OnlyFans. Census Bureau announces another move to collect marijuana tax data, which this is something they've been pushing for a little while. I'll talk about this. The article actually talks about this more and what data they've been looking for. This is a good thing in a lot of different ways. And New Jersey, as we've been talking about. I'm almost sick of talking about this New Jersey shit. I swear to God, New Jersey. If it literally were not one of the slowest damn news days ever, I would just toss this story to the side. I would say, fart this couch. I'm tired of this. I don't care about your ass, New Jersey. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate you, buddy. Kiss a homie. But since we've been following it so closely, and even if it were another heavy news day, I'd probably still get to this because, god damn it, once we're on the ride, we're on the ride. We'll get to that. Virginia marijuana legalization bill. By the way, all of our stories today from Marijuana Moment. Make sure you check out marijuanamoment.net, our good friends over there. Fantastic writers. And something else I noticed too, by the way, of what they create over at Marijuana Moment. It's a little bit different than even local news media, national news media, on how fantastic they are at their jobs. Did I forget to turn off the fan? You know, I was like, man, I think I have the ambient sound off in my headphones, and I think this fan's on. Hold on a second. It's like, I'm telling you, it's like getting out of a goddamn sports car here with the way. Did you guys see my butt? Not like a nice sports car. I mean, we're upgrading the sports car to be nice, but the actual seat, it's like we took out of like a, I don't even know if this is the right year or whatever. It was like a 76 Buick or something, you know? We need a game chair sponsorship. Not one of those crappy game chair sponsorships. All right, we comfy? Let's get comfy. Come in. Hug. Okay, don't get lost. What was I talking about? Marijuana Moment. Make sure you check out those guys, and thank you very much to Tom and all those the guys that what they do. The stories that they write. Oh, that's pretty incredible. I found my way back to the trail on this one. The stories they write are extensive and informational. I mean, you're rarely going to see stories that are shorter than this. I mean, well, this is pretty long, actually, but almost all the stories that they have are long, you know, explaining in quite a bit of detail what's going on. They include information for people like myself who follow things very closely, and they also include information for people that don't necessarily follow things very closely. A lot of background. A lot of great journalism that goes on over there, you know. Even if it's just what's the word? Congregating? Even if it's just putting together a ton of other information from multiple different sources, it's still a lot of great information. It's still fact-checked. It still has great people behind it, so I can't say enough for the good people over at Marijuana Moment. Another weird thing is, like, when I'm gaming, I'm sitting right here. And then because the mic, that's the next thing too, gooseneck. So we can grab the mic and then pull it right here. Because like when I'm live, I'm like over here, like leaning in. And then I have a curved screen. So when you're off a little bit on this curved screen, it feels funky. What up, Tech? How you doing? Hey, you're a video dude. I should have messaged you. Does it look good? Do we look all right? Do we look all right? I mean, I may not look good, but does the video look good? Is it balanced? It's beautiful. This is just beautiful. I love. We got people in here. The OBS looks great. Loving it. The balance and everything. So good things. Good things happening. We got another light. Courtesy Get Seeds right here. Big time sponsor of JDR. Always been a sponsor of JDR. You can get seeds right here by hitting the Discord link. If Bike is listening, he can drop that link in chat. So there's a light right here. We have a big ring light. And we have another light right here. And the camera we got, when it's just turned on and there's white light everywhere, that camera is like red. I'm red. So in order to even get back to a base color of like white sort of and not have it like have this red little whatever, I couldn't really get to it comfortably with my amateur knowledge. So I literally spent all night last night relearning everything I learned in broadcasting school with lighting, and then more and then some new tricks for streaming type stuff. So, I mean, I legit went through my course in lighting last night in like, I bet I spent like 5-6 hours on stuff, and then reset everything. Try to get it looking nice. This is a green screen behind us, but I do have a blue light that's hitting. So it kind of gives it a little blue of a tint, so it's not too looking. Not the biggest fan of these yellows right here, but that's because we had to kind of make the light warmer to look decent and not have me look dead. So I had to kind of go with this red thing. I'm getting used to it. I'm not this red, trust me. I'm like pale. Man, maybe one of these days we'll have to flip off the magic. I was actually surprised last night or this morning when we got going, and I felt comfortable with everything before I went to crash. I was actually like, wow, it looks halfway decent. I look halfway decent. Balance kind of good. Not bad at all. All right. And then Virginia marijuana legalization bill sails through committee as key Friday deadline nears. All right, let's get to the news here. Try to check and make sure I didn't miss anything, because sometimes we start here early afternoon. There is some things. There is an update on Minnesota. Let's go with this, though. Biden. Biden's USDA takes first meeting with hemp industry to learn about market needs. Representatives of the new Biden administration, U.S. Department of Agriculture held their first meeting with hemp industry stakeholders last week to learn about the market's needs. During the meeting, National Industry Hemp Council Board Chair Patrick Atagi talked to Acting Agriculture Secretary Kevin Shea. I wonder if I actually like... I'm getting old. Oh my god. I was staring at lights and screens so much yesterday. I have no, my eyes are not focusing. It's like, this is going to be even tougher than it normally is if you do not make these bigger. Truth be told, when I was in actual broadcasting news for like terrestrial radio, everything printed out was like capitalized, like 16 font, huge, 1 page a story. Even then, I still farked the couch. They also covered issues such as regulatory enforcement, a hemp checkoff program that's in the works, trade standards, and increasing research and developments for the crop. Dude, that reminds me. There's the beef checkoff. Hold on, let me switch over here. Beef checkoff. So I used to run commercials for radio, obviously, and inside the radio commercials included like PSAs and stuff like that. You had to include every hour 1 30-second commercial for like the government or a nonprofit. Is legit the law. And every time I'm trying to find the actual commercial so you guys can hear it, because you got to hear it. Every time this guy said it. Beef checkoff. Wonder what this does. God damn it. All right. This may be a lost bit. Oh, this is an NBC spot. Nope, that's not it. Anyway, the guy sounded like he was saying beef jack off. All right, it's not as funny when I say it. Somebody find that link for me. Somebody find a clip of that guy saying beef jack off. Fail one with the Stream Deck. Hey, we quickly learned we could fail with it, though, okay? It was the funniest thing ever. It legitimately sounded like the guy said beef jagoff. Atagi told the Marijuana Moment in a phone interview that a primary purpose of the meeting was just to make sure that USDA is working on hemp issues currently, which they are, but also we have incoming political folks, some who know the hemp industry and some who don't, and so the conversation was partly for education. The talk went extremely well. Atagi, who was appointed by the USDA and the U.S. Trade Representative, USTR, last month to serve on the Federal Trade Advisory Committee, said he added that the meeting was meant to make sure that the agency is up to speed as Biden's pick for Agricultural Secretary, Tom Vilsack, moves through the confirmation process. Atagi is the second member of the NIHC to join a USDA and USTR advisory panel. Excuse me. Kevin Latner, Vice President of Marketing for the group, was appointed to the Agricultural Technical Advisory Committee for the Trade in Processed Foods in July. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, Atagi said, but the USDA recognizes that and are bringing people in like us who know the agency, know the regulations, know where the bumps in policy areas of concern are at to work through those. Yeah, this is something like that. Meanwhile, hemp businesses are preparing for the implementation of USDA's final rule on hemp that was released last month. Those regulations are set to take effect March 22nd. Not that I forgot about this, but this is going to take... we're going to have to dig through this a little bit. Really, I'll probably just highlight some things for you guys, because there's a lot of boring shit that is in this. Boring shiatsu. Industry stakeholders say the rule is a positive step forward that will provide businesses with needed guidance, but they've also pointed to a number of policies that they hope to revise as the market matures, such as USDA's hemp testing requirements. What up, Target? How you doing, buddy? Yeah, have a good day, Tech. Appreciate you. Could use more light. Yeah, I could definitely turn up the light. I could change the settings and stuff too and make it brighter, but also at the same time, I don't want it brighter. This one's already like right there out of the corner of my eye. Get annoying after a while. All right, sorry. Federal Small Business Administration expressed a similar sentiment in a blog post last month, writing that it is pleased with some of the changes that the USD has made to the rules as they offer more certainty and are less burdensome to small farmers, but some concerns remain unaddressed in the final rule. Even as USDA crafted its rules and built up advisory committees, it has spent months reviewing and approving numerous state and tribal regulatory proposals. The word is regulatory. Slow down. Most recently for Rhode Island. The initial meeting with the NIHC further demonstrates the agency's commitment to taking feedback into consideration while moving forward with the implementation of its regulations. Meanwhile, the presidential transition is impacting pending rules and policies from the former Trump administration, including those concerning hemp and CBD. The FDA last month withdrew draft guidance on CBD enforcement that had been submitted for review at the White House under Trump last year. There are a few details about what the proposal included, but it was expected to give the industry a better understanding of the federal perspective when it comes to marketing cannabis products. The Biden administration is expected to review the USDA's final hemp rule, though it isn't formally on hold, as is the case for the CBD guidance. So the CBD guidance, I don't know if that... when we're talking about guidance here, I trust these guys a lot. Especially this guy. I think we've read more stories from Kyle Yeager than almost anybody else this year. I'm going to have to get him on the phone and give him credit. Get him on the Discord and give him credit. Talk to him about his views and what he sees. Kind of his background, all that stuff. That would be cool. That would be fun. But from what I understood with the FDA guidances on CBD that was given, Babe Nation, they were like regulations. It was to regulate CBD. Now, maybe they were not so great. Who knows why it got pulled? You would think that the regulations... So I got to work on not putting my hand up right there. Put it right in your face. Sorry. You would think that the regulations, because of a previous administration, would be leading towards something that would be same draconian shit that we've seen before, tight rules, maybe some underhanded bullshit with CBD trying to get at THC or get at cannabis and distribution. But the two biggest things right now that are in gray areas, obviously CBD and then hemp, and then to go along with that, are seeds, plain and simple. So seeds and breeding right now in a very, very, very good place for people, because you not only have access to these type of things, it may still be underground, and the problem with that is eventually the people that are going to want access to this stuff and are going to do the most with it, arguably the most with it, are the actual regulated producers. So, what's happening there behind the scenes, I can imagine the same type of things that happened in the beginning of cannabis, when strains just kind of appeared in metric and, out of nowhere. It's like all the, the rules stated like certain things had to exist, and then, wait, did the chicken come before the egg, or did the egg come before the chicken, or, that kind of thing. And we're remove that fallback, comfortable positioning statement out of inventory. We are 100% in a gray area in a lot of states, even in states that have regulated hemp. We're still in a kind of a gray area and still trying to hammer down what federal regulations are. And just like this said, having approval from federal regulations, from the federal agencies to these hemp programs, as we mentioned earlier, Rhode Island. And you have states like Colorado and other states who have, progressive people and people who are willing to create the path before the path has been, kind of laid down well. And then you have states that welcome situations that are more, hammered out and solid. This is what it is. This is the regulations. This is how you do it. Quite a few states like that, and are not going to start these type of programs until they have something that's outlined exactly like that. So in that sense, the regulated side of things, it is frustrating. And once we do get to that more solid ground and comfortability for those people, it'll jump leaps and bounds, just like the cannabis industry did. But right now, you still have a lot of people that are invested at the ground level, a lot of people that are, doing it for the heart, doing it for the love. Talking about particularly here, breeders and people that are going to be creating these strains of hemp for areas, Colorado, California, all over the world. And breeding these out and creating these products and these strains for people to be able to use across the board. And then the regulated companies get a hold of those, refine them a lot more. But the point being, long story short, the access to that right now, the information, your ability to do that, arguably has never really been better post-World War II. So it's a pretty cool thing in that sense, and that's why I'm excited to talk a lot more about hemp breeding. Obviously, we'll get Dunn in here at some point in time, and then get Adam Dunn's friends to get in here and talk with us about hemp, since he is far more connected on the hemp side of things than I am. And then obviously, get some breeders in here. I've already contacted 5-6 breeders, but I have not heard back from one of them. This is strange, because that's never really happened before. So I go and say that now's a better time for information, and then I can't get a hold. You know what I mean, all right? You know what I mean. Good times, good times. Top Minnesota lawmakers introduced a bill today, that would legalize marijuana in the state. House Majority Leader Ryan Winkler filed the legislation, which is also being co-sponsored by the House Speaker. It would allow adults 21 and older to purchase and possess up to 1.5 ounces of cannabis and cultivate up to 8 plants, 4 of which could be mature. Wow, 4. We have 6 in Colorado, 3 mature. See, making me go eat my words when it comes to legalization, just like Mike said it would. Son of a goddamn farking. Yes, we do have a cultivation part. Will it stay? Will it hold? Hold! The bill is identical to a proposal the majority leader filed last year with some minor technical changes. Winkler, who led a statewide listening, That's weird how he said that. Led a statewide listening. I think I read this last week and got tripped up on this. Like, why would you put it statewide list? Held a statewide campaign to gather public input ahead of the measure's introduction, called it the best legalization bill in the country at the time. It did not advance in the legislature, however. This bill is ready to go from the Minnesota House, Winkler said at a press conference on Monday. Our priorities are to end the black market and provide a safe, regulated marketplace. It's interesting he didn't say anything about... Obviously, we're just paraphrasing him here and just quotes, but kind of looking for that social equality. All right, well, let's keep reading on it. Maybe he'll probably talk about it later. Legislation will give Minnesotans the freedom to make their own decision on a product that has some challenges, but is relatively safe, especially compared to other products. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Man, the days that you would hear lawmakers say things that I was saying on JDR at the beginning of us doing all this, that and I only say that because I've echoed this from what other people have said for years and years and years. So I take no credit for it, but ultimately I've said it for years and years and years. XQC slam. That it is safe. No, I've said exactly that. It is relatively safe compared to anything else that we're talking about, any other drug. Period, end of story. And in fact, when we're talking about drug interactions, there are studies done with emergency room doctors that talk about cannabis being one of the most benign substances when it comes to interaction with any other drug, period. It has no real known interaction with any other drug. That would detrimentally affect your health detrimentally. We'll sit with that one. It's very cool. Crazy to see this. Man, I can't wait to program these buttons to have memes or something, like sound bites go off. What kind of sound bite should we have? We're losing people with me just yammering on. Stick to the news. Oh, we're cut in half with the viewers. How to click this stupid thing and not view the viewers? It's the downfall. It's like the talent goes up with viewers. That's not even joking. As South Dakota legalizes, where was I at? Watch majority leader legislation. Majority leader also talked about the need to legalize in a regional context. As South Dakota legalizes, the ability for Minnesotans to drive across the border to get cannabis increases significantly. This guy is woke. He stood on the Colorado-Nebraska border, my friend. Because that is how they do. If people are willing to drive to Wisconsin and go buy fireworks, they certainly will drive to South Dakota to buy cannabis. I love this guy. This guy is great. Under the proposal, social equity would be prioritized. There we go. It's the number one thing on everything. It's what will get these bills passed right now. I don't think the home grow is a good idea. I don't know, man. God damn it. I'm going to shut up for the home grow for now, okay? I promise. I'm not going to say anything detrimental about the home grow anymore. If I say something that the diehards are left here, like probably the best of friends, I already know they're going to put up with shit from me no matter, what. I've thrown the most heaviest of shit their way. I mean, we're not going to push it again, but, they can sit and, listen with the mute in the background or shake their head at how ridiculous I sound. But it says something that they stay, and, none of the other noobs are sticking around. The noobs are like, I don't know what this is. I don't know if I can trust this guy. This is just some wacky stoner. Has no idea what he's talking about. He gets into rants. It just makes me feel uncomfortable. These Zoomers and their feelings. We got a light news day, man. I gotta stretch it out. Social equity would be prioritized in part by ensuring diverse licensing. I'm such a dork. Diverse licensing and preventing the market from being monopolized by corporate players. Prior marijuana records would also be automatically expunged. God damn. This is like the first time you're reading. I think I read this bill before and talked about this on maybe my Facebook last year. I'm pretty sure I remember this now. This shit is dope. It can't be that. Maybe we should have just read the bill from top to bottom. I just found this after we started the show. Give me a break. On-site consumption and cannabis delivery services would also be permitted. It's better and better. Unlike in many legal states, local municipalities would be banned. Oh my God. This is what we were talking about last week. This exact situation right here of presenting a well-built plan, unlike what New Jersey and New York are trying to do, that is hammered out and includes proven policies that have been tried and true in other states. Now, granted, the on-site consumption thing has not been solved, but that's because nobody's done it right. So maybe in this situation, you do it right. I think you missed the boat not starting social consumption from the grassroots of everything. I really do think that that's the idea, and that's the key for social consumption, is having a... Is Minnesota a heady state? It is, isn't it? Like, Minnesota's a heady state. There's some tokers there, right? There's some heads. So I gotta say, man, having that on-site consumption and having the... What's the word I'm looking for? Culture. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking in the area, just like kind of we had in here in Denver and Colorado, like they have in places in California, but not so spread out in California. I have it kind of like centralized. That's a possibility there in Minnesota. And when that starts from the beginning, and then I already could tell my bed's gone, and I'm going to have to reload all the beds. From beginning to end, that may build something grassroots level and extend it out past just the Wow Pikachu meme phase. You know what I'm saying? Because once you get past that part and you try to build on-site consumption, really what you're trying to do at that point is then cater to tourism. All right. And if you're not making tourists or people that are smoking cannabis comfortable in a spot, like they want to lounge out, sit back and relax and chillax, can spend hours there and not minutes like they normally do. Here's a situation. We have on-site consumption. I can't handle this no bed thing. This just feels like AM talk radio to me, and which that's cool. But let's get our beds back. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and file save. I'll get back to the news here. Sorry, we're doing some housekeeping today. Probably for the next couple days, we'll do some housekeeping. Make sure that we got everything right. All right, media library. Let's import our new tracks. Hopefully, I finished that train of thought there for a second. If not, we'll fish to get it back. Media library. Import refresh media files. Import refresh media files. Hopefully it doesn't open the porn folder. I'm just kidding. I don't have a porn folder. That's what Reddit is for. We got JDR 2021 music. Here we go. JDR beds. There we go. Beds. Let's see. We put lifestyle and ghost. Those were the synthwave. Wait. That's the synthwave. The lifestyle. What was that? Oh, wait, I can't import these. Never mind. I forgot. I've got to convert them. I've got to convert them. But you know what I can do? It's probably going to be loud. Whoops, I hit the wrong button. That's why we have dials and stuff, because we give myself a nice little fence to keep in with this stream deck. 25 came in successfully. All right, we'll work with that. I'll just dump them after we're done. And that way, when I load them in here, it loads them in all these tracks with everything that they were given at birth. So, however I got them, that's how it's going to load them in. So these actually worked out pretty well. Because we've got the track name here, and then the artist here, and then the time here. A lot of the times when you're pulling stuff in, you just get this. See, unknown, all this stuff. So what you have to do, I have to pull it into OBS Studio. Long story short, blah, 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 blah. Edit all the tracks that way. It's actually pretty easy. Batch convert it, and then they come out like this. And then they are actual files like this. The little running man. have a lot more options inside this sequencer I'm using right now, which was designed for Jack FM. We play what we want. All right, feel a little bit more comfortable. On-site consumption. So basically what happens is you have folks who are coming into town or are, let's just talk about normal everyday folks that are in town or that are living there. They come into a social consumption spot. Wow, this is cool. Wow, I've never been in a spot like this before. They sit down, or they look around first, see how there's nothing really there. There's no real options. Maybe there's a band playing, maybe there's a comedian. You have entertainment, stuff like that. But as far as like food, drinks, other stuff, pretty limited. And a lot of times, not allowed. So really, you just have a spot for people to go that is legal, quote unquote, to use cannabis in some ways. Is it legal to actually smoke the cannabis? Not really. So it's this uncomfortable space. Long story short. And people stay there for a few minutes at a time and just bounce. Just like the JDR show. You know, and it's not something they enjoy. So we want to make it something more enjoyable, something grassroots based, which the JDR is, and bring that model successfully to everyone else somehow. So if Minnesota can do this and they can integrate business outside of cannabis, you know, outside of I'll clean your bong, outside of whatever it is, the basic shit, and we get access to every other business idea and ability, things are going to be a little shaky. Bill calls for, missed this one, retail cannabis sales would be taxed at 10%. Part of that revenue would fund a grant program designed to promote economic development and community stability. The bill calls for the establishment of a 7-person cannabis management board, which would be responsible for regulating the market and issuing cannabis business licenses. People living in low-income neighborhoods and military veterans who lost honorable status due to cannabis-related offense would be considered social equity applicants eligible for priority licensing. The steel drum started playing, and I wanted to march to the beat of these steel drums. I don't like that. That's whack. Might be a little bit too chill for the Monday morning. Or maybe it's not. What? COVID cough cough? Dean Ween's Honeypot Lounge. Yeah, exactly. I didn't see that. I think Mike posted that a while ago. But it's not just Dean Ween's Honeypot Lounge or whoever's name, whatever is on it. I think I shouldn't say this. There may have been a situation in Denver that I think almost wrecked a guy. Like, legitimately almost wrecked this dude, I think, with this not working out. Ugh, rough. It's just people living in, I'm gonna have to use the restroom in a second. My brain's thinking about the bladder. Giggity. People living in low-income neighborhoods, we already read that. House Speaker Melissa Hortman voiced support for legalizing cannabis days ahead of the new bill introduction. In a press release, she said it's clear that our current cannabis laws aren't working. For Minnesota, smart, sensible legislation can address racial inequalities in our criminal justice system, tackle the harms caused by cannabis, and ensure better outcomes for communities. By the way, this check this out. You guys didn't see. Look at mini JDR. Oh yeah, and then we got this other one. This one looks kind of weird. But yeah, if you guys are a subscriber here on the John Doe Radio Show, I think we're at 9 subscriber points for the month. I wonder if that reset at the beginning of... Anyway, it's probably a 30-day period from the first subscriber and then moving on. Anyway, from the first subscriber we got to now, we have 9 points. Big thanks to Big Chris for his tier 3 sub. That how do I get that picked us up quite a bit. And then we need 15 points total, which I think tier 1 is like 1 point or maybe 2 points. I don't know. I'm trying not to look at that too much. But once you do unlock these awesome emote slots, they're unlocked for life. So we gotta unlock this one right here, man. And then if you look at it, look at the I can't change this until I get partner, guys. You gotta get me partner just solely so we could change the prefix of the JDR emote. Can I pull this over here? It's not gonna let me pull it down here. Damn it, come on. Oh, actually, I could do this now. Second display capture. Wait, what the fuck? Stop it, Pike. Stop it. Thank you. God damn it, man. Such an amazing dude. He's such an amazing friend. It's such, dude. Oh my goodness. Mike is such a supportive, amazing dude. Like, god damn it. So I think we unlocked the slot there. I hope I didn't. I'm not leaking anything. Anyway, John Doe 17 JDR is the sub. Man, today's been a weird day. It's like the weirdest day. We're running off the rails here. But this is ridiculous. John Doe, JOHNDO 17 JDR is the emote. Check to see if you guys have that emote. Sorry for sidetracking. Sorry for the YouTube listeners. I apologize. Chris, Bike, hit your emote. See if you got it. You should have maybe one emote at least. Thank you very much, Bike. That's very awesome of you. Very, very awesome of you. Very, very kind. Can't say how much I appreciate. I can't say how much I appreciate you. So it's good shit. Somebody hit a goddamn emote in chat. You know what's cool too? I can hit a button on my on this thing, and then I can mark. So if I wanted to edit out something, I can mark it and then go back to it later, because that's smooth. All right, nobody's listening. You guys don't have the emote or what? Nice. What up, Melee? The emote prefix is so ridiculous. John Doe 17 JDR. Nobody in their right mind's gonna type that out. When I get partner, we're gonna get that to JDR. Like, that's the goal. Just JDR. Maybe JDRS, but I would like to keep it at JDR. That means there's like 17 other assholes that have had this, 16 other people that have had some sort of John Doe. I guess it makes sense. It's not like I'm being like super original with the whole John Doe thing. Anyway, let's get back to this. I apologize, you guys. You guys are great. Thanks, Mike, for the gift subs. Everybody, please, that a few people wandering in from those gift subs, please thank the man Bike for those. God, the button shit's just absolutely amazing. I mean, we can just literally push on this thing. Buttons. And it does what we want. Theoretically. Press release Minnesota, clear that our cannabis laws aren't working for Minnesota. Smart, sensible legislation can address racial inequalities in our justice system, tackle the harms caused by cannabis, and ensure better outcome for communities. I think I did read that already. Patrick Garofalo voiced support for the legalization proposal. Worth noting, he's a Republican, saying in a statement on Monday that lawmakers of all political parties should work together towards implementing better regulatory models to address the expensive, inefficient, and unfair prohibition of marijuana. Contrary to what some will say, this is not a partisan issue, he said. Many Republicans are interested in reforming these expensive laws. I know they are. Behind closed doors, they want to do it. But when they start talking about it outside, they get shunned, you know?
It's like Trump trying to head back to Mar-a-Lago, and it's just... See, this is where we need a bank of sound effects loaded into the loop deck.
We have like crickets, a couple awesome memes, and then a couple other awesome sound bites, and we just hit it. Beautiful. Wait, did I turn on? I think the sound alerts are still on. You guys, yeah. All right. Yeah, Republicans. This is definitely not a. And it's not even a fact that Republicans don't smoke weed. I mean, just the same in my experience. Maybe it's weird because I live here in Colorado. Maybe I shouldn't use my experience as an example here, because that's probably not a good thing. Colorado, probably an outlier when it comes down to meeting people who smoke cannabis, being from like wide ranges of class and backgrounds, whoever they are. It's, you can't point to any one given person and say, oh, that's a pothead. All right, fine. Okay, I get it. But the point being, normal everyday people smoke pot, okay? That's just how it is. And Republicans just choose to be more quiet about their bullshit than other people, People that are a little bit less conservative about their life and less conservative about being open with things, which in a lot of ways is because of the way that society is and the way that we treat people is not the most healthy thing. It's not healthy to live that type of way. I'm trying to unwind some shit, move forward with myself and be less conservative, open that sexuality. Open with everything, okay? Give me a break. Wow, that you could run with that one. Let's just get back to the news here. The unfortunate thing is we still have to wait for them to feel comfortable to come out. And it's not necessarily... it sucks because we have to wait for these people to be comfortable, while at the same time they're punishing just countless others, an endless. You can't even count. You cannot put into words or numbers the damage the drug war has done. And if you continue to be on, say, the conservative side of things and want to push for the drug war, want to push for incarceration and harsh penalty, basically the draconian ways that we've done, you have to also consider that you're a part of, one of the worst things that the man can do is try and regulate and control another person's actions, will, thoughts, wants, needs, joy. And that's the frustrating part, is that we do have to deal with that side of things and getting them to change that. That's why it's important for people, everyday people like you and me, to stand up and to vote and to voice our support. And at the very very least, not be, indifferent about it. I thought it was going to take me a lot longer to search for that word. Indifference, one of the biggest issues that we can face when it comes to any type of reform. LGBTQ. We're talking about that type of thing. There are a ton of people that don't care. That legitimately don't care. They don't want to fight for, And they definitely don't want to fight against. They don't want people to be hated against. But they just don't care and don't get involved. There are tons of people that smoke weed that don't get involved and don't care. But even if you push forward a more positive approach with all this, whether it be through social means, being more open through in your circles, social media more, feedback with local news media, another important thing, and commenting on articles, etc., stuff like that. Here in Colorado and Denver, the media we've had positive cannabis exposure here in Colorado for a long time. And it's positive when compared to everywhere else in the nation when it comes down to it, because we don't have these horrible stories and these drug warriors that are coming to the news, special interest groups coming to the news. They are, but the news doesn't pay attention to them that much here anymore and doesn't run news stories on it. The legitimate news that they run for anti-cannabis is maybe from a national study that comes out, but it's not this paid for bullshit sideways government sponsored quote unquote dare way of teaching things, because we've kicked back. It's not that they haven't tried. They certainly have tried, but because we've had people that have had the culture here in Colorado of a positive cannabis movement, of an underground culture of potheads and stoners of the same thing we were just talking about, every range of person, they feel it. The kickback is measurable on that side of things, and when a station or news media hears legitimate concerns about some things or gets calls about things, and it's not just, some memed thing or whatever, a lot of them pay attention. They really do, unless it's just not. A lot of it has to do with the politics of where the news station is, granted, but at the same time, that feedback from the listeners, because they know if 5 people call, there's probably 500 people that are thinking the same thing and just don't give a shit to call in. We're pressuring these information sources to be more positive because they feel like you're going to be more positive. Entertainment stories, whatever it is, they'll start to cater to you. Instead of catering to things that they think they're going to get in trouble with and things that they think you're going to shun and say, what is this? Why are you running this article? And then go smoke a joint in the back room, Now that type of shit's not really happening anymore, we're seeing cool stuff. Layli Fatehi, campaign manager. Yeah, Bike came through with the gifted subs. Pretty cool. Now we got mini JDRs. Does the mini JDR look good? Is that a cool first emote? I thought that would be a very cool first emote. We've been using it for a while. It's my thing. It's me. I didn't want to use the JDR logo, old school JDR logo. I didn't want to use anything that had a pot leaf in it because I was unsure. I was almost positive we weren't going to get it approved for use. In fact, the mini JDR that we have here, if you zoom in on it, first of all, you can tell me if I saved it wrong or I screwed up or how I could maybe do it better or whatever. But as it is now, you zoom in on it, and I went in on Photoshop and just edited out the doobie and the smoke that kind of rolled up from my head from the doobie. So, because I didn't think they would approve that. So I took that off. And so the first emote we ever sent off for JDR Cannabis related show, which there's been other cannabis stuff on here. But yeah, I was pretty proud of that. That happened last night. That was pretty cool. Well, dude, break down what you think Virginia's chances are at legalizing this year. Let me see here. We got okay, game captured. Oh. I think I don't think we talked about Virginia at all yet this year when it comes to cannabis reform. Need to finish up that article. I'm gonna go use the restroom real quick too. Yeah, I don't think we've gone into it yet this year. You know what? Let me go use the restroom. I'm gonna finish the. Oh wait, we did. We. Jesus Christ, I'm an idiot. This is what happens when I'm trying to think of one thing and file that thing away and then go to another. Yes, we're gonna talk about Virginia in a minute. Duh. God, you're like, dude, you talked about the article that you were going to be reading here in a minute when it covers Virginia. So, did you forget about that? Yeah? Yeah? This is JDR. We'll be right back. I got to use the restroom. Oh, it's so sweet. And then what happens when I... Oh, wait. Where's the audio? Wait, do I have to click this? If I click this, can I go to the audio here? Yeah! God damn it. See? Big Chris. I said nothing important that I can't repeat. Let's try that again. Hold on. All right, we're back with it on the John Doe Show. You might want to drop that radio off of the, since we're on Twitch and all. Came back, and it felt like I was like on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood or something there with the piano playing in the background. So sorry about that mic mute there. That's exactly what I said. I also said thank you guys very much for hanging out with us here, and I appreciate you very much. If you would like to give a follow, and you can learn when we're live. You can also subscribe to the John Doe Radio Show. I expect a handful of you are here because Bike's gifts. So thank you, Bike. Before we get back to these news stories, my name's Tim, aka John Doe. Been doing radio for years. Went to broadcasting school in 2002. Worked for Clear Channel. Worked for a few different radio stations, radio companies. The Associated Press. Did in-house news journalism, in-studio newsroom journalist shiz. And then I got into cannabis was really in cannabis the whole time. Got raided on my birthday in 2007. Started JDR up in January of 2007. October 2007, we got raided and did the show for years and years and years and learned about cannabis. Been involved with businesses intimately, up until the closed door sessions and stuff. Behind the scenes of cool stuff. Here in Colorado, we used to host a show. Many of you probably already know. We used to host the John Doe radio show from 2007 on. Became pretty popular. We're on the Normal Network. Had quite a few people listening to us. And we were quite respected at one point in time. I don't know if I exactly was, but the show was quite respected. And some of the things are said on the show quite respected. So we'll get back to that. We'll bring you cannabis producers, seed growers themselves, glass artists, etc. Not a big fan of interviewing musicians because they're boring. So probably not a lot of musicians and stuff, Let's be real. Even then, we get Sendog back on. That's what we do. All right. Are we good? We're good. All right, let's get back to this news because you were talking about Virginia. Stop saying Wait, first Minnesota. We were finishing Minnesota. I know how Hassan goes 12 hours talking about news now because he's got 10 million people in his chat room asking him a million different questions and feeding him information. I'll promise you, we get to 50, 100 people, even probably less. You guys are going to see the marathon come out. You will see the marathon. Days I can't sleep, I'd rather be live sitting here talking than anything, but I'm going to sit here live talking to nobody. That's just depressing. Back to Minnesota. Encouraged to see the first 3 authors on the bill include the House Majority Leader, Speaker of the House, and the Chair of Ways and Means Committee, said the campaign manager for Minnesotans for Responsible Marijuana Regulation. The authorship is the strongest indication of the Minnesota House Majority's commitment to legalization, expungement, and regulation. Yeah. Comfortable in this chair, Captain. All right. Next step for lawmakers, blah, blah, blah. Public hearings, proposal to give feedback residents. Governor Tim Walz is also in favor of ending marijuana prohibition, and last week he called on lawmakers to pursue the reform as a means to boost the economy and promote racial justice. Beyond providing the state, that sounds exactly what they're doing. So he said that, and then these guys took a fantastic proposal and something progressive and responsible and ran with it. It's kudos Minnesota right now. Beyond providing the state with needed tax revenue, he said legalization also helps address equity issues, quite honestly, racial impact of our cannabis laws. I will say this. I will certainly leave open that possibility. Our neighboring states have done both those things. He said of legalizing sports. We've already talked about this, and he pins on... we talked about this last week. We don't need to go in that anymore. Ultimately, long story short, this is something we need to follow. Going to follow the homegrown portion of this and all the other great stuff. Homegrown portion, most important part of that... for you maybe, but the most important part for me is expungement of records. Prior marijuana records would also be automatically expunged, not just requested, automatically. All right. Beautiful thing. Jumping to Virginia. Proposals to legalize marijuana in Virginia cleared key committee votes in both chambers of the state legislature over the weekend and Monday morning as lawmakers raced to qualify the bills for full floor votes ahead of the upcoming mid-session deadline Friday. Governor Ralph Northam and lawmakers unveiled the legalization plan in mid-January on the first day of the short 2021 legislative session scheduled to end later this month. Chair. Comfy. All right. To survive into the next stage of the session, versions of the marijuana proposal must pass the Senate and House delegates by Friday, the state's so-called crossover deadline. I doubt this. I don't think this is going to happen for Virginia. Virginia doesn't. There's not a long history of getting things done extremely quick. The frustrating part is that Virginia was supposed to be one of these states at the very beginning of a spot in my mind that means nothing to you. What do we want to say here? What state was it? God damn. A couple years ago, states started legitimately talking, and I'm embarrassed I can't think of a freaking example. I'm thinking maybe the vape will help. Nope.
Not helping.
Not helping me remember anything, that is. So we had talked about Vermont and Virginia a bit ago. Wow, this is probably even like 5 years ago. Man, I think we're still doing JDR shows before. Maybe 2015? As far as back then, we were talking about Virginia and Vermont passing legislation, or passing a legislative bill. For some reason I was thinking I said initiative. Initiative by the people, legislative thing by legislators. Blah, blah, blah. But Virginia and Vermont supposed to be, two of the leaders on this, and ended up Rhode Island doing good and a couple other states, but we're still, we still have yet to see Virginia make a move on anything. Now, granted, Virginia had the problem for the longest time of having one or two people, for instance, the governor, standing in the way of the legalization process and in the way of reform, specifically of legalization and decrim. Multiple times that has been passed through the legislative process and then got to the governor's desk and been rejected. I'm pretty sure, if I'm thinking right. It is Virginia. It's got to be Virginia. One of the states that stands out to me as the asshattery of having a very heavy populace of cannabis users and people that are openly report this. Speaking of, we already talked about that census. Wait, did we talk about? No, we haven't gone into census. We're going to go into that next. Got my stories all mixed up because we pulled Virginia in here before I wanted to, but that's okay. So you have the situation where they're still stalled, but I don't get it because the problem was before the top. Now the top has been replaced, and you have a pro cannabis. I think at the top in Virginia. Let's finish the article with Virginia. This is breakneck speed for us. Vivian Watts, Vice Chair of House Courts of Justice Committee. These are the weirdest freaking names on the East Coast for shit. House Courts of Justice Committee said in a virtual meeting on Sunday where the panel voted to approve the House version of the legislation, 2312 House Bill, refer it to the House Appropriations Committee. If it succeeds there, the measure would advance to the House floor. Whoops, I didn't mean to click that. It's a good thing that was not a funky link. So, I'll have this up here. I meant to right click it and pull it off in a tab. I'll have this up and we'll follow this. Text amendments, history. Okay, here we go. So we have history. If you look for a bill, so say you wanted to search for that bill, House Bill 2312 Virginia 2021 is how you would search for that. And then it'll pull up probably it's going to pull up a state website for wherever you're at. And Google should pull up the link right to it. So you should be able to see it. Click there, right there. If you don't see the links when you go to search for bills like that, then you go to the legislative site of your state. Click on whatever session you're looking for instance, 2021 session. And then you should be able to pull it up there. Depending on what state you're in, you may have a long list of bills to look through, but really the marijuana legalization and all this stuff is pretty simply put in a title form, so you don't have to go searching through the wording, etc. It's just laid out right there. For instance, marijuana legalization of simple possession. Bam, right there. But then something else cool that you can look at, not only the full text, which is something for people like me, but the history of it. So as you can see today being, wait, it doesn't have history on here. Let's see here. Am I mixing up the Minnesota bill and this one? I think that's what's happening. Yeah, okay, that's what's happening. I got moving too quick there. I got shit crossed with the Minnesota and Virginia bill in my mind on like presentation deadlines. So yes, this is correct. So you have a bill that was introduced the 20th, January 20th, 2021, and nothing's been done since. So what is that? Full day. We'll give them benefit of the doubt for that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know, in basically a week, we'll give them benefit of the doubt because we won't count the weekends and then cut off the 2 days, the Thursday and Friday that it was introduced. So a week, it's been there. That towards the end of a session like this, that's not that surprising. The fact that it was introduced, the timing on this probably has a lot to do with COVID. And you could probably pull the COVID excuse and say this is par for the course for how things have operated in multiple states. Late introduction. It just doesn't... To answer the question about if this is something that's going to go through, it does not feel to me like it's something that has the heart of the legislative body. So it eliminates criminal penalties for possession of marijuana for persons 21 or older. Bill also modifies several other criminal penalties related to marijuana, provides for an automatic expungement process of those convicted of certain marijuana-related crimes. The bill establishes, this is Virginia, right? Yeah. Wow, that's pretty cool too. Automatic expungement. We've seen that twice now in one day. 2 separate bills. That's very good. This, though, happening fully, I include with the grow clause. So these are 2 things that require a bit of finesse after the fact. It all requires finesse after the fact, and it all requires regulation and extra bills generally. It sounds like the Minnesota bill's pretty freaking hammered out with regulation, though. It's not just like, okay, legalization. Here's decriminalizing, legalization, quote unquote, regulation, we're going to call it. Create a system for this and sales. And it sounds like Minnesota is trying to avoid that 100%. Still be laws and everything, but most of those will be plug and play for how Minnesota does things. And it sounds like from other states, using examples from them, and then plugging and play with Minnesota. But this is still one of those things that's iffy. Hopefully we'll start to see this, because if we see this here in Minnesota and Virginia, it'll start to carry across the board in reform to other states. Now, it's not letting people out of jail. That's something that needs to be included probably in a separate bill. We talked about last week how I thought that the progress that we needed to make with these cannabis legalization bills is expungement and expungement process. That includes letting people out of jail, not just expunging past crimes and past records on solely dealing with cannabis. And where I'm going with that is where we kind of get into this iffy range of what can be expunged and how it's going to be expunged. The thing with this is, and what I hope at Minnesota and here is like an under 1 ounce or more type of expungement, because that's probably what it's going to be. Things like expunging felonies, getting people out of jail, those are something that's a lot more difficult that we run into. It's frustrating. So decrim happened at least, though. Yeah, for sure. But are we really impressed with decrim anymore? I mean, unless you live in a state that just is unless you live in a state that, I mean, should you really be living in? I mean, you know if you're living in a state that you probably shouldn't be living in. Are we really talking about those states? Or are we talking about the states that we have expectations for? Because at this point, we're at the federal tipping point, and it's time to start thinking about how models now and regulation now and laws now will affect that federal outcome. You know, we've moved past the point of not realizing. God damn it! This music, man, it's like kind of distract. I'm kind of like way too chill, shutting down the brain. So we've reached a point where we're talking about federal legalization and federal decrim and how that's going to be unrolled. We weren't talking about that. Maybe it was mentioned at the beginning of the Trump administration, the first year, maybe year and a half, and then it went away just because it was something that was like, okay, if decrim or legalization is pushed, it's going to be a surprise thing, you know. I'm actually kind of surprised it's not something that he pushed for. It just goes to show that there's not the life in the Republican Party if you play that part to push forward decrim and legalization. But because we're at the point where we're not just talking about states influencing other states, that still exists. And it's still obviously a huge thing. And even in states like Colorado and California's a bad example because nowhere near hammering anything out. Oregon, Washington, Colorado, places that have had regulation and sales going on for a while, even these places can learn from other spots that move forward with laws, expungement, letting people out of jail, social equity laws. We just this year introduced a very small amount of money was introduced for social equity in the cannabis industry here in Colorado. I think I covered it at the very first show. Olis introduced it. But we're talking about that influence on a federal level. So we need to start having these laws passed in states like Virginia, Minnesota, that influence these federal, that influence the federal path that we're headed down. The more that we have a decrim and the more that we have sort of tighter regulations and rules that are in place, unlike what we talked about in Minnesota, the more that it's going to give credence to just the decrim route. So Minnesota can pull off what they pull off. And then also you got to think about, is it too late? Is it too late to kind of move in it? Unless you're Arizona. Goddamn Arizona. You are a rock star. Unless you're Arizona and can vote on something in November and then implement it by the end of January, then it's kind of a moot point that we're talking about too in some ways, because unless the program is rolled out, finished, successful, proven, rubber stamp, the impact of it is very little, unfortunately. Even when it's passed, a bill like this, if you don't have the sales portion of it, the regulation portion of it put into place, your influence holds no teeth. You hold no teeth here. Yeah, big history in cannabis in Virginia. I agree. That area has a it's got like I don't know what the right word for it is. It's got a culture to it. So the people there, I don't know how to describe it. Plus I might be describing it wrong because it's not really somewhere where I'm from. And then the bill continues on. It lays out how they're going to spread out funds, etc. Blah, blah, blah. The boring part of it. This is news article talk about how, all told, the two marijuana legalists. On the Senate side, Judiciary Committee approved the chamber version of the bill, Senate Bill 1406, at a hearing Monday morning after it cleared that panel's expungement subcommittee over the weekend. That bill now goes to the Senate Finance Appropriations Committee, talking about Virginia, next scheduled to meet on Tuesday before proceeding to the full Senate. Yeah, that's not going to happen. All told, 2 marijuana legalization bills sailed through a total of 5 committees and subcommittees over the past 3 days alone. That doesn't really mean... I mean, it doesn't mean a whole lot. It doesn't probably mean a whole lot. You know, without really seeing exactly what's... I guess what I could do is look on the Virginia docket and see what else they have to get done by Friday. But having something clear through committees is one thing. Like, the committees may have gotten a bunch of their shit done already in preparation of the session closing on Friday, and then this was the last thing that they were going to deal with or cared about, and then got to it and passed that through quickly just because they don't have shit else to do. And they're trying to clean everything. So this may make it to the floor and then die on the floor, which is probably, if it's going to die, that's what's going to happen. I would assume that's what's going to happen. Just from what I've seen of them talking about the history of this, the Senate. But yeah. There's not enough time for this. Because here's the thing: is even if it makes it out, it's not going to pass. No. I'm the more I think about this, the more I'm like 80%, 70-80% negative on this. Because here's the deal: these bills would have to be perfect. Because if anything's changed when it's argued about, then it's got to go back through this process, and I highly doubt there's enough time before Friday to get that done. Yeah, I would doubt there's enough time. There's probably not enough time, and it doesn't seem like there's a lot of care on this to get done that way either. So that's unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. Where are we at here? All right, I screwed that up. Let's put some beds back in here. Where are we at? Hour 40 minutes? Yeah, dang. Binary groove. All right, there we go. We didn't have a lot of stories today, so we at least got to finish up the stories today. So they can clear. Goal is to get the bills on the floor. If legislation don't get floor votes by Friday, legalization dead for the session. Yep, that's what I just said. It's not the final decision. Yeah, there's too much up for this bill. That's not gonna. It's not gonna happen. Sorry, logistics. Something like Virginia, something like we just talked about with Virginia passing has got to be something that catches fire at the beginning and carries weight through. It can't be something that just comes up at the end and is talked about. It's too important of an issue to slide in there at the last moment and have the people that are scared be comfortable with what's happening. So they're going to argue the dumbest things in that point, and they're going to want at least 1 or 2 concessions as part of the bill. I mean, it's very, very rare that a cannabis bill written is passed on everything its first run through. Granted, my brain is not a vault of memory and amazing details of information and exact dates, but I'll tell you right now that I would put a bet that, I'm not a betting man, so now that I say that, I'm thinking twice. I would put a bet that has never happened. Ever. In the history of presented cannabis bills, not one bill, I would bet, has passed through a bill like this. The framework bill has passed through untouched or unargued, unamended. That is a monstrous idea to think of if that were to happen. Hell might freeze over on that day. Like, legit, no joke. Like that, it would be a cold day in hell. I mean, I'm not saying that it should be flying through, because in most of these situations, there's one or two things that could be argued off of it, for sure. Even when we're talking pro-cannabis, you know? It's like, all right, let's change this. You get 100 people in a room and try to get them agree on one thing. Oh, God. There you have a legislative session. U.S. Census Bureau is announcing another new plan to begin collecting and compiling data on revenue that states generate from legal marijuana, the latest move to add a cannabis question to the annual report that state submits builds upon a Did I read this already? I didn't read this already. I already read this article before the show. If I read this, tell me. Big thanks for the follow, Nugs. B-Nugs, I appreciate you. Anyway, all right. Well, we're going to read it again if not. Latest move builds upon a separate notice the federal agency posted last month that explained it would be incorporating state-level cannabis tax data into its quarterly reports. Aside from the difference in timescale from quarterly to annual, the most recent move also broadens the scope of cannabis-related data being sought from states to include licensing fees in addition to earlier notices I got used to looking down at the dial. I was like fumbling for a second there looking for the volume dial. Eventually I'll know exactly where it is. All right. The most recent move also broadens the scope of cannabis-related data being sought from states to include license fees in addition to earlier notices' sole focus on sales tax. The new notice published in the Federal Register last week states that the Census Bureau is making these procedural changes, which also include the collection of information on revenue from sports betting in order to modernize the survey's content to maintain the relevancy and sustainability of these data. The data are released as part of the state and local government, finance, and public employment and payroll statistical series, the notice says, adding that the reports are submitted to various federal agencies for informational purposes, state and local governments and related organizations, public policy groups, public interest groups, private research organizations, businesses, etc. They all use it. Census Bureau developed central collection agreements with state and large local governments to collect data from their dependent agencies and report on the Census Bureau as a central respondent. Currently, the Census Bureau has central collection arrangements to collect local government data with 27 states, 4 local school district governments, and state government data from all 50 states. 4 local district governments? I mean, we just don't give a shit about education. We don't care about education. 60-day public comment period will be open to solicit feedback on the proposed policy changes, giving people the opportunity to weigh in on the effectiveness of the Bureau's data collection and ways to streamline the process. I wonder if actual businesses and people that are involved with this get... I bet you cannabis people that are proactive give good feedback on this, of like what's good to be included, like what the numbers mean. Hopefully they do. When the Bureau previously announced it would start gathering cannabis tax data for its quarterly reports, or at least when the numbers come out, we can analyze them in a decent way. We can see if the numbers are correct. They represent if they represent actuality. That's what I'm talking about. Represent reality, not what we want or what they want. It's cool to get new information. Now, even more than ever, we need our policymakers to rely on facts and evidence, not reefer madness rhetoric, said Justin Streckel, political director for NORML. If a state or locality wisely chooses to regulate a commercial cannabis product, regulate commercial cannabis marketplace, I wasn't looking, then it's prudent for data collection efforts to acknowledge it just as it does for other aspects of legal economy. Beyond modernizing the data, reporting on state cannabis tax revenue while marijuana remains federally illegal could further demonstrate to lawmakers the economic opportunities that regulating the plant represents. This is really the main point here and why this is probably a good thing. There's a lot of good things that businesses will probably see from this, and data that can be analyzed and used for businesses on the regulation level. Also for, you know, as we're talking about right here, economic opportunities, you know, to see what exactly is available, you know, to make planning possible. Get these people start thinking. Even amid the coronavirus pandemic, marijuana markets in states across the U.S. have generated millions of dollars in tax revenue. Last year, man, $2 billion in sales in Colorado, the highest we have ever had. In Illinois, for example, state saw more than $1 billion in cannabis sales in its first year of implementation, and that's translated into more than $100 million in tax dollars, portions of which are funding social equity grants and substance misuse and mental health treatment programs. It is unfortunate that money goes towards this substance abuse and mental health treatment programs, in the fact that we haven't updated these programs yet in entirety to meet up with science and to meet up with the drug reform where we're at. So you have people that, so think about it this way, and something not really thought about a lot. Government agencies, we do sometimes look at as being, you know, just rubber stamp agencies. The people that work for them maybe being robots. Put it that way, with all due respect, you know, and a law is followed and you have a government job. There's pretty solid rails that you have to stay within in that government job. There's no really going in and out. Like, here's how you do your job, period. If you do it well, you keep it forever. You know, you don't think of you know, necessarily of a government situation, you know, breaking kind of out of that, or a person, you know, breaking out of that. Fuck, where was I going with this? Sidetracked by my own ADHD. Somebody tell me where I was going with that in chat. Idiot stoner. That's the first one of today.
We had like 5-6 a show last time, so we're doing all right. All right.
Oh, crap. I had a point with that. Tax revenue, dollars. Oh, yeah. Behind the scenes stuff. That's where I was going with it. Hey, we didn't lose it. Not one. So behind the scenes, there's a lot of this information that can be used for people that are not like necessarily like me and you. You know, we can use this information to push lawmakers to build programs, etc. But also at the same time, there are people in the industry that need this information to be armed and moving forward with it. So we don't end up with 50% tax rates on cannabis when it comes down to it. Is one of the big reasons. We need the effects, but then again, you say that and like you show the numbers and it's just record sales over and over and over again. You have to argue the moral obligation of keeping taxes low in situations where, like we were just talking about, substance abuse, misuse, mental health treatment. Did I tie the idea I had together before? I don't know. Substance abuse, mental health treatment, all this money going into these programs. You know, hopefully, eventually, these programs can get improved with more attention to the money side of them. Does that make sense? Oh, where I was going with the rubber stamp government agents. That's where I was going. Okay, got it. So, these government agent people, you know, that's ultimately where my thought was going. They're not necessarily going to, you know, go with programs that are changed in a progressive way if they've been hired, as government programs have been for years, on a basis of there's no use for drugs, anti-drug, period, end of story. You're going to read off this list of lies about the drug that we followed since Anslinger. This is the beginning of all this shit. The 20s, and that's what you're going to do. So we introduced a situation to where you have, and you're going to throw people in jail and never let them out. So now we have a situation where you have these reform programs. We're going to regulate marijuana sales, and then we're also going to send people to treatment and not to jail. Okay. But the problem is, number one, the compassionate people on this side of the sentencing and the government, and then two, the actual healthcare system for drug care and drug use and mental health is a joke. So we flip that switch to there without a proper net in America to grab people in. So really, we end up in this situation where we eliminated people maybe from going to jail right off the bat. Still, in some situations, you violate drug court rules and you violate the treatment rules, etc. You end up back in jail. So if the treatment program's not working, mental health recovery is not working for a person, they keep getting recycled into this bullshit system that's still attached to law. Regardless if we've decriminalized, he's still giving a summons and a service for these people that includes probation and other things that tie them up. And so as much as we want to cheer all these great things that are happening, there's still a lot of shit that is tied and based down in the swamp and the bullshit of all this, you know? We floated above it a little bit, but we still got the attachment and braces that are attached to this foundation of ridiculousness and foundation of violation of civil rights. It's one thing to violate people's civil rights and to throw them in jail and to throw them in prison for, you know, things like cannabis, etc. But then it's a whole nother thing to they're two separate things, man. The idea of throwing people in jail is one thing. We get rid of that. Now what do? We have a mental health system in the best of times offers people with little to no money a run-of-the-mill, legitimate, I'm thinking of an actual wheel that's turning and people just load it onto this. A government agency, mental health care, and I'm having a hard time explaining exactly the frustration in my brain that I have for the way that even though everything that we're moving towards is a positive thing, and these laws in these states are getting better, the net underneath us, we still don't really have one. And, you know, COVID proved that we don't really have a lot of net for a lot of shit. So I guess that's not too surprising when it comes down to drug reform and mental health. We have a healthcare system that has, in general, that has no basis to it, no net. But to expect the government agencies to implement these programs well is a mistake. Mistake. So what option do we have in all this? All doom and gloom in the end. It's not all doom and gloom in the end. The options that we do have is we have oversight. So having good, positive, and by good I mean good, like paying attention to this stuff, and organizations or an organization that are effective at analyzing data and effective at holding these states and these programs that are enrolled to task. That's the best thing that we can do right now, besides trying to change everything at the base level and knock off that shit that's just dragging us down, that's based in this fake reality and fake sciences with drug reform. But it's happening. It is. All this stuff is happening. I mean, even though we're still, we still talk about it being, all based in doom and gloom and in a prosecutorial matter. I'm not the only one concerned about how treatment is and what happens in the future. You know, we have tons of young people that are sick and tired of the status quo of the government, the stock market, everything. They're sick of it, you know, and they don't listen to the boomers. These kids don't give a what you have to say about regulation or guidance or whatever. AOC is an example of the first implementation of all that, in my opinion. No matter how you feel about her, and no matter how you feel about change, etc., my opinion, the change comes with this new generation of kids that are just overly sick and tired of being lied to, of seeing, you know, my generation, previous generations follow the rules and still get dicked, you know, by the government and by corporations and by companies. And it's kind of exciting to see. It's cool to see that change, because that means we're seeing change across the board. Okay, people being more compassionate, being more open to ideas, how we solve things, and how we get to from the big equation, solving that mamma jamma from A to B, is by letting people be people, letting them be themselves, giving people as much opportunity as we can to be themselves. You know, unlocking your creativity, unlocking your person, unlocking that, getting rid of that idea that you're supposed to be inside this box, and if you do this certain thing, then your friend's gonna think this way about you and whatever. Some of that shit is great, but some of that stuff, when it comes to individuality, taking that away, the kids today are doing a fantastic thing with being able to not give a shit about expectations or looks, or, you know, if someone's gay, if someone's trans, if someone's bi. It's like coming out of the closet used to be a big thing, and it used to be something that people cared about. Nowadays, I get the feeling like people, it's more of like rude in some instances, or not necessarily rude. Rude is the wrong word I'm looking at, but it's like it's not needed. It's almost like, okay, dude, like, I don't know. Maybe that's just me and the way that I see things. So it's good. I like it. Bastards, you know, when they don't listen to me, or they, you know, memeing me, talking shit to me. Yeah, maybe I'll care then. Then they're little shits, but otherwise not. What else do we have today? I think that's about it. Wait, we did have this New Jersey. Should I do another story? You guys listening? You guys are the ones listening. Should I do another story? Should we save this for tomorrow? Am I boring y'all? I have a psychedelic mushroom bill filed in Florida. Let's read that one. You know what? Let's just finish it. I'm going to take a dab. Let's take a dab. And we'll finish the news. What else am I doing? What else are we doing? You have 30 minutes of work yet. Keep yapping. It's kind of fun. You know, at least, at the very least, you know, Bike has, like, supported a private podcast for himself, you know? Private podcast catered to the things he likes and enjoys and needs in his life and can spend time working at. Shoot. That's kind of funny. I don't know if that made sense to anyone else. It's a little hotter than I would like. Or just like listening to JDR with their headphones. Like there's no weed or anything. Like Twitch, guy's on his lunch break or whatever, sitting at his desk. Boss comes by and he's like, hey, you got those TPS reports? Looks over his shoulder. I thought you were watching a news show. Is that guy smoking a bong? Funny as the show goes on, he's just like slinking more and more down in the chair. As his chair blows. Hold on. You see how dry my beard was there? Been dry here this past week. All right, let's continue on. New Jersey. As we continue to beat the dead horse, that is New Jersey. I'm going to get to talking, and then I'm going to choke again. New Jersey Assembly. Told you. New Jersey Assembly Committee on Friday approved a cleanup bill intended to clear the way to implement the legalization of marijuana. Latest development on lawmakers' rocky path to enact a cannabis referendum voters approved in November. Enabling legislation to create a regulated market was introduced and passed by the legislature shortly after last year's vote, but Governor Phil Murphy said after the fact that opposed the lack of penalties for after the fact he opposed the penalties for underage possession. Lawmakers attempted to resolve that with an earlier bill to address the youth possession issue, but a floor vote was canceled after key legislators pulled their support. Now, seems like there could be a compromise. Under the latest proposal, adults 18 to 20 would face $50 as a fine for possession of up to 1 ounce of cannabis, and a $100 fine for more than that amount. Those under 18 would not be subject to a civil penalty, but would be given a warning. I don't know if it's just the fact that I don't even want to consider the idea of... No, I'll consider the idea of... let's just put this, I'll process the thought of considering possession charges and reform, etc. for shiz like that. But for what New Jersey's doing, I'm done. I have no more energy to, I barely care about saying, man, I'll think about this possession thing in the first place. Really? No, it's no anyway, but if we gotta have it a certain way, let's talk about it. Let's analyze it. Let's see how we can do it better. If you're not gonna just completely do away with this shit at all. But you dumb motherfucker, New Jersey. God damn you. If New Jersey were a person, I would not be New Jersey's friend. I'm just saying. I mean, there's nothing against you, New Jersey. But fark your couch. Okay, so let's try and understand this, because my brain just... I get this, but... So going from where we were at before, last week, with New Jersey... People that were 18 and under and either possessed or didn't possess something from a regulated store or location were either charged or not charged. And then people over 21 were not, like, oh my God. See? No. Now this time, clarify it a little bit more. So 18 to 20... You're going to face a $50 fine for a possession of up to an ounce of cannabis. Where the cannabis came from, I assume it doesn't matter at this point, but we never know with New Jersey. It'll be a $100 fine for more than an ounce. Now, 1 ounce, more than an ounce. We should pull up the bill, but I'm not going to. See if that has an upper limit to it. This doesn't. I bet this is not just 1 ounce or more. It's $100 fine. Maybe it is. Probably is. But I would bet there's a limit to this. Because the limit would become intent to sell, intent to distribute at a certain point. They're like, no, this is not $100. Dude, no. This is intent to distribute. Dude, it's sitting in my bong, ready to be hit right now. Like, nope, still intent to distribute. That's one of the funniest things I've come up with in a bit. That'd be a funny skit. Or I could try intent to distribute. It's personal. It's sitting. Anyway, it's funnier to me, I guess. And then under 18 would not be subject to a civil penalty, but would be given a warning. This doesn't make sense at all. None of this makes sense at all. Cleanup bill, by the way. These are lower penalties compared to the last compromise bill, and the new version seems to have the support of advocates such as the ACLU of New Jersey. That's because they gave up. It's like me. They said, I'm tired of this shit. I'm doing this no more. What? That's what happened. That's what happened with the ACLU. No, I'm kidding. Wouldn't want to cut the ACLU short like that. But it's fate in the full Assembly and Senate and at Murphy's desk. Governor Murphy, not clear at this point. New legislation would also form a task force charged with making recommendations to the governor and lawmakers on law enforcement activities to address the enforcement of of underage possession or consumption of marijuana, hash, or cannabis items, as well as the broader issue of underage possession of consumption of these substances. There I go again, poking at you guys. The ACLU said the panel's creation lays the groundwork for future reforms, providing a clearer look into how the enforcement is carried out in practice. If racial disparities persist, we'll know. Some tells me racial disparities are going to persist. It's kind of like they knew this was the best they were going to get for a long time, and it was better than anything now. Is what happened. The Assembly Committee vote could provide a lifeline to other marijuana reform legislation that's been transmitted to Murphy, namely a bill to implement legal marijuana sales and a separate decrim measure that he threatened to conditionally veto if lawmakers were unable to reach an agreement on revised legislation by Friday. Governor's deadline to sign the legislation is currently expected to be February 8th, which is the next time the Assembly is set to hold a quorum. Fancy speak for get together. But it could be earlier than that if legislative leaders move the schedule up. In addition to the revised penalties for underage cannabis offenses, the new bill also stipulates that the odor of cannabis alone shall not constitute... Where is this? Odor? Yeah. Shall not constitute reasonable, articulable... Alright, I'm sorry. Articulable, now I'm not going to be able to get away from it. Articulable suspicion to initiate a search by a person of law enforcement. The Assembly Community Development and Affairs Committee approved the proposal in a 4-2 vote on Friday, now heads to the floor for full consideration. A lot of this stuff, as it just reminded me here when I scroll down here. Marijuana Moment tracking a 450 cannabis, psychedelics, and drug policy bills. In state legislatures and Congress this year, Patreon supporters pledging at least $25 a month get access to our interactive maps, charts, and hearing calendars so they don't miss any developments. MarijuanaMoment.net. Become a patron. And this is the last one, and then we're done. Big Chris actually watched me at your desk. Oh, sorry if your boss approached. Is that guy smoking a bong? It's a free country, man. Yeah, I thought this was America.
Attention. 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 We need Chris Custer to come to the front, please. Chris Custer, come to the front. Bring your stuff.
Lawmakers in Connecticut and Florida have filed new bills to reform state laws on psilocybin. For the longest time, I called it psilocybin. Psilocybin. Mushrooms. The latest trend of psychedelic proposals to emerge in 2021. Representative Michael Grieco filed the Florida legislation on Thursday, which would establish a legal... God damn it. The word's farked up in my brain now. Say it wrong one goddamn time. It's like Canada. Psilocybin model for therapeutic use in the state, similar to an initiative that the Oregon voters approved in November, also seeks to deprioritize criminal enforcement against a wide range of psychedelic plants and fungi. Connecticut bill, sponsored by Josh Elliott and 4 other legislators, would simply create a task force responsible for studying the medical benefits of the mushroom. See how I avoid that right there? The main God damn it, the article farked me. Son of a bitch. Psilocybin, the main psychoactive ingredient in so-called magic mushrooms. All right, my change didn't work. Main objective of the broader Florida legislation is to promote mental health treatment with the help of... How many times are you going to say psilocybin? Substance has shown efficacy, tolerability, and safety in the treatment of a variety of mental health conditions, including but not limited to addiction, depression, anxiety disorders, and end-of-life psychological distress. The bill states, adding that Florida has one of the highest prevalence rates of mental illness among adults in the nation. Oh, you don't... I mean... This is not nailing on mental health at all, but, I mean... It's got to be said that the rest of the country notices. I mean, we notice, right? The whole Florida man meme. Oh, I forgot right here. I got this little... I got a cough button. Look at that. I got a cough button. Wait. All right, there we go. It's so cool to have these nice little tools sitting here. If you just got here a little while ago, yeah, we got this Stream Deck. Push buttons, turning dials. Where were we at? What were we talking about? I was gonna say something about mental illness. What I am going to say is there is a fantastic book that if you are a beginner into psychedelics or would like to kind of get introduced into more and be given like some names and some background and history on where to start and go from there more, there is a book called How to Change Your Mind. It is by, How to Change Your Mind, Botany of Desire, written by... Oh shit, I gotta remember to internet proof this goddamn situation. Okay, talk. There we go. One of these times, man, JDR's not gonna get... I'm not gonna get banned for weed or talking about weed or anything to do with weed. We're gonna catch the 24-hour, 3-day clap because I bring up something on the internet that I wasn't supposed to. That's what's gonna happen. Let's see here. Fuck it. I lost it. What do you mean? The issue comes up on smoking on stream. Yeah. Yeah, if you're not in a legal state. Yeah, you're right. No, but ultimately what I was saying and what threw me off again, because we're now reaching the 2-hour point and all expectations for control are gone. anything could happen with the show at this point. What I'm saying though is that as I'm moving around with shiz, like switch around these screens, like when I think of something, I'm like, oh shit, you know, I'm gonna Google that, and then I click over, you know, and then didn't hit the talk scene, you know, and it's still on the display capture. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying is, you know, you guys might see some boobas or some dekas, which really, if we want to do something positive as a nation, is get rid of this idea that seeing a dick or boobs is a bad thing.
I mean, it's the weirdest thing to be weird about, like naked. Like, it's just so weird. It's just weird. As Hassan would say, it's weird. What the? Oh wait, god damn it! See, and then I hit buttons. That's why it always helps to have the preview image up here in the corner. All right, finishing out this bill. Oh yeah, that's what I was doing. I was looking for. God, such an idiot. Such an idiot. How to change your mind. There's also audiobooks for these things too, so if you're not into reading, you can get an audiobook, which, by the way, reminds me, Ready Player 2 is out. Oh, shit. I gotta find 15 hours to listen to Ready Player 2. Michael Pollan is this guy's name. Fantastic writer. He has written a couple books that I am a huge fan of. So The Botany of Desire, which it explores the concept of coevolution, specifically humankind's evolutionary relationship with 4 plants: apples, tulips, marijuana, and potatoes. From the dual perspectives of human and plants, he uses case examples, blah, blah, blah. It basically explains how the 2 plants have interacted, or the 2 plants, the human plant and the marijuana plant. The story about apples, if you don't know, the history of basically how we got to the apples that you eat today, that is an incredible story. Because just like with cannabis, but even more so with apples, I don't know, I've never grown an apple from seed before, an apple tree from seed before. Borker's barking in the background. The process of it is fascinating. It's absolutely, the breeding of apples is absolutely amazing. You can't just take a seed from an apple and plant it and get anything close to what you're eating with. So it's crazy. There's like basically apple cuts that have been passed down since the beginning of apples. So potatoes are pretty cool too. Potatoes are boring in the sense that there's a potato that'll grow everywhere, and they're robust mamma jammas, and there's people here in Colorado that are like genetically engineering potatoes to grow in like winter conditions, etc. They already grow in winter conditions, but even worse conditions. I watched this Discovery thing on potatoes, and they talked to this guy up in the mountains here in Colorado, so it's crazy. Anyway, The Botany of Desire, I highly recommend, and then How to Change Your Mind is another fascinating book. I think I got some dabs in my nose there. How to Change Your Mind, fascinating book that is an introductory, I must admit. If you're well versed on psychedelics and the history, this is probably not going to do a whole lot for you. But if you are the person that's kind of looking about more information, and like I said, some names of people that you can kind of research more and lead you into an entirely, not to be punny here, rabbit hole that can be fun and learning, entertaining, awesome. See. All right, that's good. That'll do it for today. Might hop on in a bit and play some Hitman, or maybe Bike wants to get into some Green Hell. figure out some lunch, take a deep breath, take some hits. I cleaned the room decently well. Beyond the point, like, everything else in the room right now is like, the long story short of all this and the rambling of this is that I did shit, and I'm actually like, I acted like a normal person this weekend and did things that I haven't done in months. The complete dishes, clean the room. Everything in this room now is just random bullshit. There's no real trash, unless you consider, I mean, there's a lot of shit that needs to get thrown away. But set up this courtesy Get Seeds right here. Yesterday, got the new light, got the new camera, dialed that in, literally spent the entire afternoon, evening, overnight, dialing all this shiz in, got this cool little loop deck. So we're doing good. Need to find people that can produce video and do some entertainment stuff. Was even thinking about, if there was someone else that was a good personality that I felt confident that could host a show for an hour or so to add more content into JDR, because the longer we're live, we got to be live on this Mamma Jamma a bunch. And the thing is, being live with the news content doesn't equal the same audience as the video game content. So we got to be heavy on the cannabis news and information side of things and kind of watch what we do on the video game side. If the video game side takes off, then sorry, guys. Pay the bills. You got 5 minutes of JDR like Hassan does. 5 minutes of news. There's somebody downstairs, so the dog's just not randomly barking by herself. But I'm going to go check out what's going on with her. Like, legitimately, someone could just get on a mic and I have everything set up here, and then I input their video source right where I'm at and then switch everything up. It's literally plug and play. Plug and play. Hold on, let's go through let's go through the buttons again before we leave JDR again. All right, we got the start. We got talk. We got game capture. We got display capture here, and then on another scene, I can go ahead and wait. Oh, damn it. Oh. I still haven't refined how to get to the folders. All right, be right back. The end session, and then on the talk screen, I can. Wait. I can't on the talk screen. Oh, that's why I put it underneath the display 1 and 2, because when you push display 1 and 2, it's underneath there, and the webcam on and off. Bam. Very cool. Very cool. Very cool. This alone is like, this makes you want to stream here. But then you're like, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to play? Video-wise, content-wise. We can sit and play video games, but then we can't really mess with this. If we have other content, then we can play around and play producer. So that's where we're at now. Content creation. I'll take it. Why not? You know what I'm saying? All right. Thank you guys again. Bike, the 15 is absolutely not needed, as with all, but you demand for so, and it is greatly appreciated. I legitimately got so many good feels and brain drugs when I dialed this down at the very beginning of the show. I mean, just that happiness right there. I didn't know my body could actually produce those chemicals anymore. Just feel good chemicals. But thank you guys. It's a John Doe. Should we drop radio from it? It's a John Doe show. Talking about cannabis news and reform, entertainment, etc. When we find a time that we're going to do it every day at a solid time, we'll do that. I dialed it down a little bit closer to 10 o'clock today, but dude, me hitting that 10 o'clock time and being, I can be there at 10 o'clock, but whether or not I haven't been up for 24, 48 hours, 72, 100, that's another story. So we'll figure it out, but I'm feeling more and more comfortable. I think you guys feel it. Still a lot of rambling, still a lot of unfocused, but that's the comfort level. Getting in. Make sure you follow us, twitch.tv/John Doe Radio. That's the other thing I got to get comfortable with. And it figures the last bed just cut out. You're an asshole. Another thing I got to get comfortable with, doing I told myself, I was like, man, you don't have to be as like business-like and as like, hey, you're hanging out with this John Doe Radio. Thank you to our sponsors and whatever. We got to drop it in more conversational on Twitch rather than a packaged podcast news program that fits in terrestrial radio. Like, we're just here on Twitch, dude. Like, don't have to be as business-like. But with that said, if you'd like to sponsor John Doe Radio, we're always open to that. JohnDoeRadio@gmail.com. I do answer those emails. If you'd like to talk to me otherwise, the Discord link is below the player on our Twitch page. Click that. You can go to it. Also, Mike has a Get Seeds Right Here page, too, where you can find out a lot of incredible information about seeds, access to great things. So join that, too. The Twitter is down below. I'm using that more and more. Yeah, so I do appreciate you guys. Thank you for hanging out. I hope it's entertaining to you. That's the only thing I worry about, is that it's entertaining to you, because if it's entertaining to you, you stick around, you like the JDR, and then in turn, for very, very, very selfish reasons, if you guys enjoy it and you guys stick around, then this is what I can do. This is the only goddamn thing I want to do anymore. You know what I'm saying? I thought I was going to be smooth with that, but I was not. Hold on. All right. The only thing I'm good at. Actually, it's not. It's the only thing We'll leave that there. Thank you. Have a great day. See ya.